Hi, everybody. Film Brown here at the Movies with Film. Nope, having a nice cup of coffee here, feeling very relaxed. It's a nice evening. I really love coming out here and being with you folks. I hear a lot from you on the email. You know that poster is available out there too. You shoot me an email and get yourself a poster. Feel like we're developing a little bit of a family here. Get a lot of people writing about how much they enjoy our offerings. You know, the kind of films that we're showing here aren't necessarily the kind of thing that you're going to see on your local cable facilities in most cases. There was a time when these films were much more readily available and seen on television, late night television, particularly those late night horror hosted shows. And in a way, we're sort of owe a lot to them. Myself growing up with shows like that, I remember very fondly, in a nostalgic way, those shows. And here is a film we're showing tonight that I actually saw on one of those Friday night movie date type of things. Bucket of Blood, 1959. Some might argue, and I'm not sure if I'd go to this case, that some argue that this is the best of the Roger Corman directed films. I myself might go as far to say that it is the best of his 50s films, because once he hits the 60s, he's starting to work with the Poe cycle, and those films are sort of in a league of their own, if you will. This film was written by Charles Griffith, and this puts this Corman-Griffith partnership into the relationship of The Little Shop of Horrors, which we have seen on our show as well, because Griffith wrote that as well. Griffith later will become a director on his own right, making a number of passable films, but I think his best work was as a writer. This film, Bucket of Blood, stars a particular individual, Dick Miller. Now, Dick Miller appears in tons of Roger Corman films. He's like a perennial. You can find him in most any Roger Corman film. Likewise, you can find him in some of the Sons of Roger Corman type of films, like The Howling. He's in Joe Dante's The Howling. It's sort of an homage to the Corman connection there. But Dick Miller has his sole starring role in A Bucket of Blood. He plays a guy named Walter Paisley. Walter Paisley. He's an aspiring artist, hanging around with beatniks and things like this. This is really a Beat Generation type of film, you know, Allen Ginsberg and the whole schmear. And he discovers a particular way to do some very interesting artwork. And, well, I'm not going to go too far into that. The Bucket of Blood has a little bit to do with it. Actually, that's kind of a title that doesn't fit as well. It's a great title. Okay, but he stumbles into a great way to make art and to make himself quite popular. Film has a number of interesting people in it. Remember Bert Convy? He passed away a while back. He was sort of one of your game show host mavens, okay? In a lot of game shows, The Match Game and Tattletales and things like that. He's in this film. Likewise, a favorite of mine, ever since I saw The Creature of the Walking Dead, Bruno Visota is in this film. He's sort of a heavy-set guy. He looks a bit like a Victor Bueno type of character. Okay, if you remember The Creature of the Walking Dead, he was the guy who was being massaged in the early part of the film for upwards to 7 minutes. Remember, we did the countdown on that together. Quite a remarkable Jerry Warren insert into that Mexican film. But that was Bruno Bisotto. Another interesting character, and I was just going through looking at this. There's a guy, Paul Horn. He plays a beatnik saxophonist. I wouldn't have thought much of him, but his name kind of reminded me of something, so I looked him up, and he wrote the music to two of my favorite childhood cartoons, the Space Angel and the Clutch Cargo cartoons. I don't know if you remember those, Clutch Cargo and Space Angel. Those were those cartoons that basically left little holes for people's mouths, and they put real lips in there, okay, talking. I had a lot of fun with those when I was a kid. The man who shot this film was Jacques Marquette, and he worked on a lot of B gritty science fiction in the 50s. He did one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, our poster is sort of based on the poster for this film, The Brain from Planet Oros, with John Agar. He also shot the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman and The Creature from the Haunted Sea, which was a Corman film. He also did the Dan Curtis Burnt Offerings. Talk about him making a step up. And interestingly, about the same time as he shoots The Creature of the Haunted Sea, he's working on the McHale's Navy television series. So these guys really spread themselves out quite a bit. Another interesting guy on this film was Daniel Haller. Now, he's the art director on this film. He's later going to become a director in his own right, and he made two very interesting horror entries, rather Lovecraftian horror entries, for that matter. The Dunwich Horror and Die Monster Die, which is based on the Color from Outer Space, or Color from Space, that Lovecraft had written. Well, this is a fun movie. I was looking over some people's comments on this film. People really like this film. I remember seeing this when I was a kid, and I remember seeing it periodically through my adult life. And it is a film that has a special place in my heart. You know, it's interesting. They made a musical out of The Little Shop of Horrors. Bucket of Blood is something that is just sitting there waiting for somebody to do another adaptation of this. I think this would make a great musical. Well, keep those cards and letters coming in, folks. Hope you enjoyed the bringing this stuff to you as much as we enjoy bringing it to you. We really do. And as I hear from people like I spoke of early on, it just makes me feel like I'm, well, a part of your routine in your living room Wednesdays and Thursday nights. I hope you have us marked and have us programmed into your little remote so that you take us, we are brought right to you. Bucket of Blood. Roger Corman. Can't live without him. Roll 'em, Smokey.